is your relationship with time? Are you wired and tired, stressed and overwhelmed, busy and going nowhere? Or just want to scale your business? Welcome to Take Back Time with your host, Penny Zenker. Penny focuses on books, strategies, tools, and tips to help you work smarter and approach your time more strategically. As a result, you can have more energy, focus, and get more done in less time. Be more efficient and effective. Get ready to take back time.
Hello, and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zenker, and I'm your host. And on this show, we are dedicated to bringing you some tips, tricks, and techniques that are going to help you take back time. Now you're like, what? Take back time? That's not possible. Well, it is when you work smarter. So that's what we're dedicated to do, is find people who have proven strategies that are going to help you to think and act more strategically and work smarter. And today is no surprise that we've got another great expert for you. Nikki Rausch is here with us, and she is the CEO of Sales Maven, an organization dedicated to authentic selling. She has the unique ability to transform the misunderstood process of selling. Now, we want to hear more about that. And she has 25 years of experience selling to such prestigious organizations as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Hewlett-Packard, and NASA. Nikki has shattered sales records in many industries, receiving multiple top producer awards along the way. And today, entrepreneurs and small business owners from a wide range of disciplines, they hire Nikki to show them how to sell successfully and authentically. So without being pushy or salesy, because we know how that is, right? And so her 3 popular books are available on Amazon. Her podcast, The Sales Maven, can also be found on your favorite podcast platform. So Nikki, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So first, why do you love sales? Obviously, you kind of bleed sales, right? Because
I do.
Like, what's got your passion up there?
Well, really what it is that I love people. I love conversation. I love relationships. And I have found that sales, when you put the relationship first, when you make rapport the priority, the process gets easier. And I will also say, I think I have a servant's heart. I like to help people. I like to make a difference in people's lives. And I really see selling as a way to help people get whatever it is they want, need, desire, and do it in a way that feels really good to them and is effective. So that's really why I love sales.
Awesome. Sometimes you can tell in somebody's tone and the way that their demeanor is that through that servant heart, right? That's why you're so successful at what you do, is because people want to feel that level of care and attention.
I just think in today's society, we are hungry to have connection and we want to give our hard-earned dollars to people who treat us like real people, not like dollar signs, who care about us, who are invested in our success. And so I really teach people how to be more strategic in the sales conversation so that they can make a bigger impact in the world and help more people get what it is that they say they need, they want, they desire.
So there is like this stigmatism, right? For salespeople, like we all know that sleazy salesperson and just want to quickly get them to do their pitch and go away, right?
Yes.
So a lot of people that I've come across who are in sales, they don't like to be called a salesperson because of that. So how do you deal with that stigmatism that's out there?
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I remember when I was starting my business and I was trying to decide what the name of my company was going to be. And I had multiple people say, you cannot put sales in the name of your business. Nobody will hire you, because people are so like, sales, it's icky, it's gross. And I was really adamant about this fact that I do think that every single entrepreneur needs to embrace this idea that sales is very much a part of the job. And it's just like anything. There's lots of things that can be used for good and bad. That's the yin and the yang, right? Mm-hmm. And so showing up and doing it in a way and selling in a way that really serves the other person, that makes it possible for them to make a decision. I don't believe in trying to convince people. I don't believe in trying to change somebody's mind or try to make somebody feel bad or shame them into buying from you.
Right.
So when somebody has an experience with me and in the selling process, like I want them to walk away and go, oh, she cares about me. She was interested in me as a person and wanting to make this, whatever my problem was, make it go away or help me or assist me in some way. And then when you do it well, then it becomes even more obvious when somebody's doing it well. And then when somebody's doing it from this place of trying to manipulate or making it all about them. And so I think it just shines a brighter light on there is a difference between somebody who's selling with authenticity and somebody who's selling with care versus somebody who's just trying to get one over on you or just get that sale made and doesn't really care if you get anything out of it.
What you made me think of there is that it's almost not selling, it's like problem solving. And I think there's also people, I might be mixing two different things, but so that was the first thing, is that's what I took from what you were saying there, is if you take on the role that you're a problem solver, right? That gives you a totally different feeling too. And it makes you feel so good when you solve somebody's problem and you help them to solve their problem. That idea of the icky salesperson and the opposite, I think there's some really good people, and they mean well, but they get obsessed with the sale versus the problem. What would you say to that? Do you know what I mean? I don't think they're bad people. I think their focus is in the wrong place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense to me. I find that a lot of times when somebody shows up and you have this yucky experience with somebody, it's not because they're necessarily a bad person, right? That's not necessarily the case. Usually it's because somebody somewhere said, this is how you're supposed to sell. And they're trying to do it like somebody else told them. And that doesn't really work for a lot of people, because I think we can all say we've been in sales situations, good sales situations with somebody who was a little aggressive, but they had a little bit of charm about it. It felt authentic. And even though they might have been a little aggressive, we still kind of enjoyed the banter around it. We've also been in sales situations with somebody who was aggressive that made us feel really bad and it felt gross. I oftentimes find that when the sales conversation feels uncomfortable or wrong, or it's because that person is trying to sell like somebody else told them how to do it and it doesn't work. And this is why I often will tell my clients, I'm not here to teach you how to sell like me. What I'm here to do is teach you how to be more strategic in your sales conversations, how to recognize certain signals that people give, how to use language effectively. And then ultimately, it's about issuing invitations for people to take the next step with you. It's not about convincing or manipulating or anything like that. It's just laying out an offer and giving people the option to say yes or no, I'm in or I'm out. And either way is okay as long as you focus on relationship and rapport. Then it doesn't feel gross or icky, even when they say no, even when you don't have the right solution for them, or even if they're not a client that you actually want to do business with, you can still leave the person feeling really good about their interaction with you.
I like that word invitation, right? That it's an invitation. I really like that. And I'm sure that based on your experience, because I've had a similar experience where I care about the problem solving and working with the people. And I find that you may not make the sale in the moment, but very often they come back later. Maybe it's just not the right timing, right? But when you treat people right, they remember. And when you make an impression, it comes back. I mean, I'm sure that you've got some examples of that as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I can tell you over and over times where people might have said no to me initially, and then something has changed. And then I leave the conversation. I leave them hopefully in a better place than I found them, feeling really good about the interaction with me, so comfortable that it's okay for them to come back. Because one of the things that can often happens in a sales conversation is if we're really attached to somebody buying from us and then they say no, and then we show any kind of disappointment or we show any resentment over the fact that they don't get it. Why don't they get it? How dare they turn me down? Well, then you leave that other person feeling really uncomfortable. And I think it's hard oftentimes to be in the position of being the buyer or being the client, and having to say no to somebody can be really uncomfortable and awkward. So when somebody's feels like they want to tell me no, my job is to make it as easy as possible for them to get to the no, to say it, and to leave the relationship intact, because things change. Like what I need today isn't what I'm going to need next week. And what I'm saying no to today, I might say yes to next week. So you've got to leave that door open. It's okay if the time is not. Oftentimes when somebody tells me no, I just say not yet. In my mind, I go, oh, this is just not yet, because I haven't moved through the process properly, or maybe I skipped a step, or maybe they're just not an ideal client yet. And that's okay. So leave the door open. I have tons of examples of people who didn't hire me 2 years ago and now come back and they're like, I am 100% in. I'm ready to go. This is the program I want with you. Let's go. And I'm like, great.
Okay.
I'm so happy they came back. Let's go. I'm ready too.
Yeah. And those are the types of relationships that we want to create.
Yeah, I always think that we should be creating ambassadors out in the marketplace for us, especially as entrepreneurs, because nothing holds more credibility than somebody else saying how awesome you are and how amazing you are to work with and what an impact you made in their life in some way. The people who are out there saying those things about you, the person who's hearing it, who admires them or they hold them in high regard, all of a sudden that elevates you versus you going out and just telling everybody like, I'm awesome, I'm going to make an impact in your business. It just doesn't hold as much weight as somebody else saying it. So you should be creating ambassadors constantly out in the marketplace of people going like, hey, I worked with Nikki. These are the results I got. She's amazing. You can trust her. I trust her. I recommend her. Then when people come, like they're already like, do I want this program or that program? Like those are the best clients to earn, right?
Absolutely. It's huge, right? A referral like that is gold.
Yeah, priceless.
Absolutely. Because we're talking about take back time and how we can work smarter. Do you have like thing that you'd say, this is my shortcut? This is what I do that makes everything easier?
Well, one of them, I'm going to say there's a lot, but in the selling process, one of the ways that I take back time and one of the ways that I make the selling process easier is I always schedule my next time to talk to the prospect before I leave the meeting. Because one of the things I think oftentimes is we have a good conversation with somebody and they say, I'm going to think about it or I'll let you know. And then we go, oh, okay. And then we spend a lot of time and energy going, well, should I call them or should I email them? And is today the right day to do it? Or should I wait till tomorrow? Should I give it 3 more days? Like that to me is just a time suck and it's an energy suck. So if you in the meeting say, great, you need some time to think about it. Should we go ahead and schedule a circle back call now on our calendars and we get it on the calendar? I don't have to think about it until right before we're supposed to talk again. And you don't have to think about it as the client until, and maybe you won't think about it at all until right before we get on the call. And then you'll make a decision. Yes, I'm ready to hire. No, I'm not, or whatever it is. But this idea of always scheduling this next step, and this is how you move people through the sales process, is you have to have the next step ready for the client and you have to make it super easy for them to take the next step to save yourself time, energy, and just everything that goes into your thought process, what you're going to spend your time on. I know you're big on like time blocking and like where do you put those people on your calendar and all that good stuff, but it just makes the process easier.
Right. Well, that's time blocking, right? That in essence, that's a piece of it, is to make sure that you are putting the most important things in those appointments, and moving people through the sales process is the most important thing.
Distractions are the enemy of productivity. Go to distractionquiz.com and find out your distraction profile. Are you a time zombie or a hamster? Take this free distraction quiz today to rate your ability to focus on what keeps you from being a wizard. Go to distractionquiz.com.
Now, I know you have a proven system, right, that tells people step by step how to move them through their sales process.
Yes.
So are you able to share a little bit of that with us today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a 5-step process for sales. I call it the selling staircase. And I believe it's your job to move a client from step to step to step to where you get to the place where you exchange dollars for services. So in the 5 steps, the first step, and this is very conversational between you and another like person, so a prospect. And so the first step is that introduction step. That's where you're being introduced to them or they're being introduced to you for the first time, and or they're being introduced to the concept of the type of work that you do. So it could be somebody you've known for 20 years that never even thought like, oh my gosh, I should hire Penny, get some help with time blocking or get some help with how to take back time, like all those things. So your job in the step 1 is to make a powerful first impression. And then once you do that, it's really easy to move the client to step 2 in the process, which is creating curiosity. And the idea behind creating curiosity is to give enough information for somebody to go like, tell me more about that. Or like, what could that be? Or what's this? Or what's that? So there's ways to create curiosity. And I always compare curiosity to, it's the difference between how you call a dog or how you call a cat, which I know sounds a little crazy, but bear with me here for just a sec. And then I'll say that.
I gave you the dog.
You were like, what? Okay. So a lot of times when we show up in a sales conversation or with a prospect or for just in a conversation, frankly, we kind of show up sometimes with what I call dog calling energy. We're super excited to tell people about things. And so we tend to word vomit over them. It's like, think about when you call a dog, you do this thing where you're like, come here, boy, come here. And it's like this high pitch, this like fast pace. And when we're really excited about our product or our offer, and we're excited to get somebody in front of us, we sometimes have some dog calling energy, and people don't respond to dog calling energy. We're like, I'm not a dog. Don't word vomit all over me. Don't tell me every little thing.
I'm so excited for you to hear about this.
Yes, exactly. So the flip side of this is in creating curiosity is how do you call a cat? And how you call a cat is you do this thing where you're like, here, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty. And sometimes a cat will come to that or sometimes they won't. But what they will usually do is at least look to see, what are you doing? What's going on here? Maybe I want to ask one question. So the idea is how you create this, what I call here, kitty, kitty statements, is how you answer questions, for instance. Because how you answer questions opens the door for further conversation. So if you're out somewhere and somebody says, hey, Penny, what have you been up to lately? You could say, oh, nothing. Well, that doesn't create any curiosity.
Right.
Or you could tell me everything you've been up to, like from the start of February until now. That's word vomiting. Or you might plant a little seed like, ooh, I have something really exciting that just launched today on Apple. Like if you said that to me, I'd be like, tell me more about that. What is that? Like, right?
Right.
And then that creates an opportunity for you to start to talk about your business, about what your new offer is, or about whatever's going on for you. So that creates curiosity. And then once you've created curiosity, usually what happens next, if there's any interest on the part of the person you're in conversation with, is they start to give you buying signals. Buying signals are verbal or nonverbal cues that lead people to want to know more. Okay. When somebody gives you a buying signal, the next step in the selling staircase, this is step 3, is discovery. The job of the discovery step is to understand what's their problem, what's their need, what's their want, and then make sure you're asking questions that lead people down that path to hiring you. So what I will say in the discovery is you want to make sure you're not asking questions that you don't need the answers to until they hire you. Ask questions that lead down that path. So for instance, one question I always ask in my discovery is, do you know how to create curiosity when you're talking about your products or service? Guess why I asked that question? Because I teach that, right? Like that's something people hire me to do and help them.
And it creates interest, right?
Yeah.
And intrigue is, well, what do you mean?
Yeah, because sometimes people are like, curiosity, why would I need to do that?
Right.
Well, now it opens the door, right? So make sure in your discovery process that you're asking the right questions that leads the path to hiring you, because this is a way to establish pretty quickly, am I in a conversation with an ideal client or if not? And if not, bless and release, like wish them well, move on. And if so, now we're going to move to step 4 in the process, which is the proposal. And
I just want to stop you for a second.
Yep, go ahead.
With your bless and release.
Okay.
Because I think that's really, really important. And you had said something earlier about helping people to get to know, or at least this is what I heard, getting to know faster if it is a no, because we don't need to spend more time on someone who's not the right fit. Right? So I just want to point that out for people, is that you said help people to say no if no is the answer and get there faster. And bless and release. I love that, because you added whatever value you did and you created a relationship, and release it and let it go sooner than later if it's not the right thing. So I just want to highlight that for people, because I think that's a big emotional challenge, right? Most of the time, it's not that they can't follow the 5 steps. It's the emotional challenges that keep us from doing each of those.
Yeah. And sometimes in discovery, or if we're talking to somebody and we're like, oh, they're not really the right person for us, so I'm just going to try to be this enormous resource and like, again, word vomit every kind of other resource they could go. And then it puts you at this weird place. And now you're in this place of you just gave all this free advice. And does that really help somebody? Are they going to use it? Right? There's all these things that happen. And also speaking to what you really are teaching about productivity, it's my belief that a well-done discovery can be done in 30 minutes or less. And if you're taking 45 minutes to an hour to do a discovery, you're not asking the right questions. You're not controlling the conversation in a way that makes it easy for the client and easy for you to assess, is this somebody I want to spend more time with or not? Like, it shouldn't take that long.
Right. I agree.
Once I've done a great discovery and I have an idea that yes, this is somebody that I might be able to help in some way. How I move to step 4 is by issuing that invitation. And really, I do it in the form of asking permission. So I might say to them, based on what you've shared with me so far, I do have a way that I think we could work together that's going to solve this problem, whatever it is they've said. This is going to solve this for you. Are you interested to hear more about that? I'm going to ask that permission so that when they say yes, now I really do have full permission to go into like full on selling mode. I'm going to lay out the proposal. I'm going to talk about price points, talk about next step, like all of that. So get their permission. And then, so once you're in the proposal, your job is to recommend what you know the client needs, not what you think they can afford. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the important kind of caveats there. Okay. Recommend what they need, not what you think they can afford. And sometimes those are not the same thing. Right. So recommend with integrity. Don't recommend something that's like crazy expensive just because they don't know what the prices are or because they say, I'll spend anything to get this problem solved. Recommend what it is that they need, stand in your place of credibility, and yet don't be afraid to recommend something that's a little more expensive than even maybe what they have told you is in their budget. Because if that's going to solve their problem, they may very well want to do that with you.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that you give some examples. I mean, I know that that's been the case for me too, in the sense of people have a problem. And when you're offering and you know that they only have a budget of so much, but if this is what your offering is, don't be afraid to offer it, even if you think they can't afford it, because I've had people who came back. I said, I know this is outside your budget. This is what it is. And they've come back and say, we thought about it. And based on what we're looking for and whatnot, we pulled budget from somewhere else so that we could make this happen. So it comes down to priorities, right? And we're talking about take back time. And so on one side or the other, right, the client and the decision-making is being made based on what their priorities are. And if this problem is a big enough priority, then they may be able to find funding somewhere else.
Absolutely. So that's exactly what you said. And you just make it so easy for them to say like yes and or whatever they're going to say. So with the proposal, step 5 and step 4 go really, really close in hand in that you lay out the proposal and then you issue the close language, and close is step 5. So an example of close language would be, based on what we've talked about, my recommendation would be for you guys to bring me in to do this like 6-week approach to productivity and how to improve this for your employees, like whatever your offer is.
Right.
And then you say, is that something you'd like to move forward with? You issue closed language. You have to get closed language out of your mouth, because unless you get closed language out of your mouth, they may never make the decision, yes or no, or share what their objection is, or share whatever that question is that you need to answer in order to earn their business. So you lay out the proposal, then you move to step 5, you issue the closed language, and then you zip it and you wait until the client responds before you say anything else.
I'm zipping it. Oh,
yeah.
That's the hardest part, is zipping it, right? So I think that's probably, if we went through at each stage, we're not going to do it because we don't have the time today, but I would imagine that there's a common mistake that people make. So at this stage, it's got to be that they don't ask for it and they don't zip it.
That's right. Often we do, because we get nervous, because we really want the business, because we know we can help this person and we're super excited about working with them. We do what's called selling past the close, and we keep talking. And when you keep talking, you never give them the opportunity to make a decision. You confuse them or you overwhelm them with too much information. And then they go into this like, oh my gosh, I can't decide, like decision fatigue or overwhelm.
Or even it just gets annoying. Like I've been on the other side of that and somebody just kept selling and I was like, well, forget it.
Oh yeah,
like,
right. They talked you right out of it.
Now, like, I don't think so. Like you're closing too hard and you already had me. And so I kind of felt like, well, the energy felt weird. So yeah, you don't want to talk yourself out of the close.
Yeah, you never want to sell past the close. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve the client. And then
before we go on, I want to ask you one more question.
Okay.
Because really seasoned salesperson might be saying, well, I already ask and I already zip it. What at this stage, at the closing stage, do you find is a tip for the seasoned salesperson who says, I already do that. I already know that?
The tip for the seasoned salesperson at this point, and this because I work with salespeople who've been in sales for like 6 months all the way up to like 30 years. The tip that I often say that most of them miss is that they lay out the proposal, they wait, and then the person says, I'm going to think about it, or I'll let you know next week. And they say, okay. No, that's not the response. The response is, if the client says, I'll let you know next week, you say, great, let's go ahead and schedule something on our calendars now.
Okay.
That way I can answer any questions that you have, and we'll talk about best next steps for working together. Should we schedule that?
It goes back to your shortcut that
Yep.
you said earlier, which
Yes.
is through every stage of the process, make sure that you're booking that next communication.
Yes, I cannot tell you how many people who consider themselves seasoned sales reps, and then they miss this step because they go like, oh, well, they said they'd call me. Well, you have to at least offer to do this circle back, what I call a circle back call. And if you don't at least offer it, you're never going to get the yes, right? And they might not call you next week because now you're just something on their to-do list. You're actually not on their calendar. And I feel like we might be in sync with this. Like, I live and breathe my calendar. Most of us nowadays live and breathe.
If it's not there, it's not happening.
It just doesn't even exist in the world, right? So if it's not on the calendar, they may never think about it. They may never come up with a decision. They may never get back to you. Not because they don't need you, not because they don't want you. It's just, you just keep getting pushed down on their to-do list. And I think I heard this years ago that people die with their to-do list undone. Like, I don't want to be on somebody's to-do list and have them kick the bucket and be like, but I was going to hire her next week because I didn't do my due diligence, because I didn't make it easy for them to get what they said they wanted.
Right. So what it sounds like to me is it makes the decision more important to them because it's on the calendar, and it comes back to that point of speeding people to a decision.
Yeah. And either way is okay. I mean, if the answer is no, I want to get that as quick as possible. So I'm not spending a bunch of time and energy on somebody who's like not ready for me or doesn't see the value in what I do or whatever it is.
Right.
Bless and release those people, move on, focus on the people who do want what it is that you offer right now and who are ready to pay for it.
Right. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to share before? I know you have a free gift, so I want to give you a chance to offer that to people. Is there anything else that you think is important that you didn't get to cover?
Well, the one thing I will say is that most people don't do enough invitations. They don't do enough asking. If there's somebody out there that you would love to earn their business, or you know that you've got something that would help them, do not be afraid to reach out and just say, is there ever a chance that I could earn your business? And what would that look like for you? Do not be afraid to ask, because it might not have crossed their mind yet. But by you posing the question, it gives their brain an opportunity to go like, well, I would hire you if you were able to come in and do this training for my team. And that might be the exact training that you want to do, right? So never be afraid to reach out to people that you would like to earn their business and let them know.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always say keep an active list of those people, right? I call them the big dogs, like the people that would also change your business entirely. I used to work with Chet Holmes, who called it the Dream 100.
I love it.
So he'd have that dream list. And then I called the big dogs because you just keep feeding the dogs, making those invitations and building a relationship. And you never know.
You never know. I teach a process. I call it my Strive 5. Like, who are those 5 people right now that you really want to connect with and potentially earn their business? Like, I have different Strive 5 lists for different types of people, but I always find if somebody goes on my Strive 5 list, all of a sudden I start putting myself in their world in some way. I start connecting with them in a new way. And pretty soon I'm able to have that conversation. Sometimes it's a no, but oftentimes it's a yes.
My mom always taught me, you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah. She's smart. I love that.
So tell us, what's the free gift that you have for everybody, and where can people reach you?
So the free gift will also get you to where you can reach me too. So this is my ebook called Closing the Sale, and it kind of talks through a little bit more around discovery, the proposal and the close, and how to really build that confidence for yourself in that process. So you can get that by going to yoursalesmaven.com/TBT. So take back time. So yoursalesmaven.com/TBT.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nikki.
Thank you.
And thank you all for being here. These are important discussions, and I think that Nikki said it really clearly. It doesn't matter whether you've been in sales, this is your first position, and you're just getting started, and you're there for 3 months or 6 months, or you've been in sales for 30 years. I liken, when we talk about development, I liken it to karate, because there's multiple belts in karate, and even when you get to the black belt, there's multiple levels of black belt. So remember that there's always a nuance, whether it's languaging, whether it's the way that you question, whether it's getting that appointment, whatever it is, there's something in here for you to challenge your sales process and what you're doing and to learn from the expertise and experience for others. So Nikki's brought a lot of great value here, and definitely go check out her free gift. And thank you for being here. My name is Penny Zanker, and this is Take Back Time. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening. Today's topic is another opportunity for you to put the knowledge you learned into practice. Tune in again next week for more strategies that will help you have more energy and focus to get more done in less time, so you can continue to take back time.